Good evening. I'm Collin Rose. Today I will be proposing my weather climate project. The class that I am in is Weather Climate Earning Drinking. Today's date is April 30th, 2014. Today my proposal is TVA fossil power plants cause global warming. Global warming is happening. What is global warming? Global warming is increasing global surface air temperatures that show up in climate's records. Global warming is happening. Earth is showing many signs of worldwide change. Average climate has climbed 1.4 degrees since 1880. Rate of warming is increased. The 20th century, last 2 decades, was the hottest in 400 years. Arctic ice is disappearing. Mountains, snows are rapidly melting. For example, Montana's Glacier National Park used to have 150 glaciers in 1910. Now they have 27. Is global warming real? Global warming is real. The global average temperature in 2003 was the third hottest since record keeping began. In the late 1800s. 1988 was the first. 2002 was the second. And the 10 warmest years on record have occurred since 1990. Let's change direction. What is climate change? Climate change does a lot more than just heat up our planet. Climate change can cause more intense weather. That could mean more hurricanes, floods, heat waves, droughts, and even cold spells. What is the difference between climate change and global warming? Global warming refers to an increase in average temperatures, which in turn causes climate change. Climate change refers to changes in seasonal temperatures, precipitation, wind, humidity for a given area. Climate change can involve cooling or warming. Should you be worried about the effect of climate change? An increase of just a few degrees in average temperature can cause dramatic change in conditions that are important to quality of life and even in the Earth's ability to support life. We may not always see or feel it directly, but climate change affects us all. Let's change directions and talk about my proposal, TVA. TVA is the Tennessee Valley Authority. It is a federally owned corporation in the United States created by congressional charters in May of 1933. What does TVA do? The Tennessee Valley Authority is the largest public power company in the United States. TVA also carefully manages the nation's 5th largest river to reduce flood damage, make rivers easier to travel, provide recreation, and keep the water clean. But today we're going to be focusing on the fossil plants of TVA. So, what does the fossil plants of TVA do? The fossil plants burn fossil fuel formed over time in the earth from plants that died long ago. And these plants to make, and these plants, they make electricity. Coal is the fossil fuel TVA uses most. Only 11 fossil fuels are left in TVA's organization. Here's a picture of TVA's power plant. This is now, where are fossil plants located? Where's the fossil plants located of TVA? Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia. As you can see a picture, most of the power fossil plants are located around TVA or in Tennessee, few in Kentucky, but more. Now, let's talk about the effect TVA power plants have on global warming and climate change. They are causing something called greenhouse effect. The Earth is wrapped in a blanket of air called the atmosphere, which is made up of several layers of gas. The sun is much hotter than the Earth, and it gives off rays of heat, radiation, that travels through the atmosphere and reach the Earth. The rays of the sun warm the Earth, and heat from the Earth then travels back into the atmosphere. The gases in the atmosphere stop some of the heat from escaping into space. These gases are called greenhouse gases, and the natural process between the sun and the atmosphere and the Earth is called the greenhouse effect, because it works in the same way as a greenhouse. The windows of a greenhouse play the same role as the gases in the atmosphere, keeping some of the heat inside of the greenhouse. One of the main greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. It is a strongly absorbed radiation and plays a major role in global warming. TVA, every one of TVA's fossil fuel power plants release this carbon dioxide, which is critical in global warming. The power plants released, this is a statistic of power plants, 72% of the greenhouse gases reported by power plants release carbon dioxide. 72% of it in the United States released carbon dioxide. Here's a picture of where you see where most of the greenhouse gases, where a lot of the pollution is caused. The main, of course, is electrical power, what TVA produces. There's a major one is coal, fossil fuel, the TVA that they do. Second, transportation. Third, industrial. But the main is electrical power plants. There's great evidence in the change of the pollution. Where was the biggest pollution at? Every state that has a TVA fossil fuel power plant was in the top 12 of the highest pollution. This causes a major problem. There's evidence of change in the composition of the greenhouse gases in the lower atmosphere, with CO2 in particular steady increasing to its present level of about 400 ppm. In May 2013, the daily mean of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of Hawaii, the primary global benchmark site, surpassed 400 ppm. For the first time since this measurement began in 1958. And it has increased by 1/3 in the last 200 years, and half that in the last 30 years. There's great evidence, pollution, of these gases being in the atmosphere. Now, the effect that these are going to have is, with more heat trapped on the Earth, the planet will become warmer, which means the weather all over the Earth will change. For example, summers will be hotter, and winters too. This may seem a good idea, but the conditions we're living in are perfect for life. And the large rise in temperature could be terrible for us and for any other living thing on the Earth. Now I'm going to tell you about the solutions TVA could do to prevent all these greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. A current employee at TVA, Joe Eubanks, quoted this: "Global warming's a issue, but until we find a cleaner, better way, he sees no change." Well, Mr. Eubanks, I have proposed changes for these solutions. A solar power plant is one solution that I have. The sun is an impressive source of energy. Even from a distance of 93 million miles, sun rays are still power-packed. That's why solar power collects the sun rays and turns it into electricity. We will never run out. Here's a picture of a solar power plant. As you see, sun bounces off to the panels. The panels collect the rays. Here's another solution: wind power. The wind might be invisible, but in places where it blows steadily and strongly, it can be a powerful source of energy for the United States. We would never run out of wind power or solar power. Something that is incredibly plays a major factor at this. Here, of course, here's a wind power plant. As you see, the turbine spins, the wind blows, and the turbine spins to produce power, which would cause, easier and less pollution to the air with one of these wind power plants. Another solution would be nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is energy that is stored in a nucleus, or centered core of an atom. The nucleus of an atom is made of tiny particles of protons, positive charge, and a neutron, no charge. The electrons, negative charge, move around the nucleus. The nucleus energy is what holds the nucleus together. As you can see, here is a picture of greenhouse gases from the electrical production. I know that I've said that later on in the slide I showed a picture of electrical was the main greenhouse gas that releases all the greenhouse gases. In this photo, as you can see, I've already shown that coal was 28%, but as you can see, this is just electrical production, things that we could do electrical. As you can see, where TVA and fossil plants are, coal is number one at 1,017 releases of CO2. Second would be gas at 575, hydro at 235, solar at 290, wind at 43, nuclear at 21. So as you can see, solar, wind, and nuclear is here, and gas is and the coal is here. TVA, I want to live in something like this. Solar panels, wind, and everything, instead of this. Something that pollutes our air, hurts our environment, and I want to live. I want my great grandkids to be here, because just a few degrees of climate change can cause terrible and non-life to the earth. So TVA, please change to less carbon dioxide and greenhouse effects. Thank you, and I hope that TVA proposes this change. Of course, this is my works cited page.